Hello there, wild warrior. Diane Kazer here, hormone hacker and gut whisperer. Today we are going to talk hormone testing, the good, the not so good, and the superhero style. So why is doing the right hormone testing to explore your hormone levels a super important puzzle piece to help you solve the riddle of your hormonal chaos once and for all? What if I told you that the type of testing that your doctor is recommending and running on you is super ineffective to get a big picture synopsis of what's going on in your body as it relates to your hormonal health, which really means, what do your hormones do? They help you with energy, they help you burn fat, they help stabilize your food cravings, or they create food cravings, they help you with hair growth and skin glow and sex drive and fertility and confidence. And for those who care, disease prevention. There's a lot that hormones do. Being that most women come to me wanting help with the majority, like 3 things: depression, energy, and hormonal diseases, as well as the symptoms associated with the diseases. Typically it's fat, fatigue, and frustration that you guys are probably really concerned about. And today I want to talk to you about the main reason why blood tests don't suffice to help you get to the root cause of these symptoms. They're helpful for some things, but pretty much overall they suck. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why. Number 1 is they're not comprehensive. It doesn't give you a 24-hour picture of what's going on in your hormonal health. It's looking at one snapshot of the day for your stress levels. So for example, cortisol. We're going to talk about cortisol right now. Cortisol is your stress hormone that gives you energy, that helps you put the fire out of inflammation in the body. It drops when you go to sleep so that you can go to sleep. Melatonin, your sleep hormone, kicks in, and cortisol wakes you up in the morning. You want to have it just right, and not too much, not too high, not too little. So throughout the day, there's a rhythm where when you wake up in the morning, it's high, and then when you go to bed, it's low. It looks like this. If they're just looking at one time of the day, they're not capturing that full spectrum. What I often see is at nighttime, the reason why a lot of my clients can't go to sleep is because their cortisol is really high, and that's your stress stay awake hormone. So, and then they're tired when they first wake up, and their cortisol is low, and it's supposed to be super high. So if we're only looking at it one time in the day, then you have no idea why you might be tired at 2 o'clock, and then why you might be wired at 9 o'clock, and then you might be wide awake at 2 a.m. and you can't go back to sleep. Number 2 is availability. Blood testing only looks at your total hormones versus your free hormones. So what do I mean by that? Total hormones is free as well as bound. So bound means that these hormones are bound to a protein, and when they're bound to a protein, they can't activate on the cell so that your body can use them, and they can generate energy and hair growth and sex drive and all the things we talked about earlier. So they're just running around and they're married, right? But what we want to know is what's free and available for your cells to actually absorb and use so that you could feel the opposite of fat, fatigue, and frustration, right? So what we want to know is free. What we want to know is free cortisol, free testosterone, free estrogen, free progesterone, all of these things, so that we know what your body can actually utilize, not that's bound by a protein. And in blood tests, they only tell us the total picture. Very, very few tests that I see of the clients that come to me with their results from previous doctors that they worked with that have been, of course, approved by insurance. They don't look at free. They look at total, and then they send you off with a clean bill of health and say, yep, everything looks great and you're in range. And you're like, yeah, but I don't feel very great and in range. So that's so important, is that you are probably going to leave that doctor's visit and they're going to have 7 minutes to look at your test results and say, everything looks just fine. And they're going to be like, well, but you're feeling these symptoms. So if you're feeling these symptoms of what appears as though, vaginal dryness, depression, not motivated, can't sleep, well, here's a birth control pill and here's a sleep pill. And you're going to leave and you're going to be like, well, all right, I'm going to take these because I'm miserable, and you're desperate to do something. And you leave there, little do you know that down the road, that's going to cause you a lot more hormonal chaos, because you're band-aiding the problem with synthetic hormones that cause even more chaos. And I have separate videos you guys can watch on why birth control is so toxic, and how I've helped women detox from birth control and rebalance their hormones, which can take years, by the way, especially if you're trying to get pregnant later on. It's one of the #1 root cause issues of depression today among females, as well as cancer. So birth control is an awful band-aid, and it's not a good move, especially if you have no idea what's happening with number 3. This is what blood tests do not look at, and that's how your hormones are metabolized by the body. So your body makes hormones, uses the hormones, and then gets rid of them once they're done, right? So we want to know what's happening. This is so big. Blood tests do not evaluate how your body clears these hormones from the body. So what happens is if you are not clearing them from the body properly, detoxing them through urine and stool and sweat, etc., then they get recirculated and they just keep moving along. And you could have estrogen dominance, but still on your blood test not appear that you're estrogen dominant, but you could have estrogen dominance issues. And so you can be an awful clearer of estrogen like I am. And I didn't know this until I took these tests. Everything looks great on my blood tests, but when you look at urine testing, which is what I recommend, we're looking at all 3 of these things. We're looking at your 24-hour rhythm. We're looking at several hormones, your sex, stress, and sleep hormones, and we're looking at all the metabolites too. So how's your body doing at making them, using them, and clearing them? It's such an important piece of the puzzle that is being underlooked today and is not approved by insurance, and doctors are not trained on all this stuff. So if you're not clearing estrogen well, it could result in things like estrogen dominance that can look like really painful periods and facial hair and PCOS and endometriosis and ovarian cysts and acne and weight gain and breast cancer and migraines and menopause and all sorts of things. And then there's a second one, and that's cortisol. A lot of people are not clearing their stress hormones well after they've produced a lot of them, and that actually can create a symptom of depression. And then they're like, I don't know, everything looks fine in your brain, but here's an antidepressant. I don't know what else to give to you. So it's really important to look at how your body is clearing cortisol. One of the key root causes of not being able to clear cortisol metabolites is hypothyroidism. And hypothyroidism is when the thyroid just slows down or your body isn't able to use hormone effectively, which is the downstream stuff we look at with this type of urine testing. And that is typically the main root cause of depression today. So that's another really big one, is that cortisol clearance is not addressed on a blood test that we can see in a urine test. And then the last one is testosterone. If you may see that on a lab test, your testosterone levels are fine if you do it by blood. But if we're looking at your metabolites, there's one thing we typically see is that a lot of women are converting it to what's called DHT. And so you have excessive amounts of that metabolite. You may see a lot of androgenic facial hair, and your scalp hair is thinning, and acne. So in future videos, I'll talk a lot more about this stuff. But my question for you guys now is, what do you do with this? So when I first heard about this stuff, I was like, whoa, I need to know these answers. If you're like, no, cool, I'm going to keep taking the pill and the medication, I'm just going to keep masking the symptoms, that's fine. That's up to you, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about helping you to empower yourself with what's out there that is not being talked about in mainstream. Functional medicine is my division. Allopathic medicine is where they're giving you blood testing and they're like, I don't know. So we want to know even the natural solutions that you're being given, some homeopathic solutions that you guys are given, are not the best for you if you have not assessed what your body is doing with these hormones on their way out. So to get a more extended insight of your total hormonal picture and beyond, head on over to my website, dianekazer.com. Watch the full video on why your hormones need your TLC now, not later. Because if you don't address it now, it will get worse. Trust me, I've seen many women defer this. It's not going to get any prettier. The band-aids keep stacking up and the symptoms get worse and the disease is able to proliferate. Cancer typically takes 10 years to grow, and we can see on these lab tests how fast you're on your way to cancer based on how you're detoxing these estrogens and a lot of these other hormones from your body. This is really redefining how we look at your hormonal health and how we can change the game altogether with your energy and reversing your fat, fatigue, and frustration. So once you click the link and watch the video, you'll see an invitation to talk to me about not just your hormones, but also emotional blind spots that actually creates stress hormones over time, causing adrenal fatigue, where you go, I don't know what else to do. I've run out of options. I've tried everything. Girlfriend, you have not tried everything if you have not tried this. So I cannot wait to talk with you guys more about this. Head on over to my website, dianekazer.com. You'll see this in here. You'll see work with me. You'll see the video. Click on that link. We'll talk for 45 minutes, get you a customized game plan together on how we can get you back to hormonal health from hormonal hell. And don't forget, stay weird, stay wild, be your warrior unicorn self sister. And I cannot wait to talk with you about how we can sexify your hormones up again. And why is that important? Because really, if you don't have your hormonal health, what do you have? Right? Cool. Take care of your hormones, take care of you. If you show up for yourself, I'll show up for you, and we'll transform your life and your hormones together.